welcome to the stream. My name is Ace and I'm going to be your host today. What's up, Irish Banshee? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome in, everybody. So today I want to do something special. I'm doing pretty good. Hope you're doing well. Doing pretty good as well. Yeah. So today I want to do something really special. I wanted to go over. Actually, no, that's what I think about. That's the first time someone called me AC. That's funny. I like that. I'm good with that. Yeah, anyways, what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna be going over a breakdown. It's gonna be a kind of a lengthy thing. I don't know how long it will take, because there's a lot to kind of go over with game development and explaining things. I will try to not go too much into like game development terms, and if I do say something, I'll try to explain it. If you guys like, I don't understand, what was that, can you explain it more, feel free to say that. I'm definitely, I don't want to lose anybody with this. I'm trying to get the, oh, thank you. Yeah, it's one of my favorite animes right now, so this is Spencer's. So I'm trying to get the game up right now. Trying to start up the so I'm not getting the actual game itself up. What I'm doing is I'm actually getting the game engine up, and we're gonna take a look at the editor. This is the editor. So for those who don't know, when you make a game, you use a game engine. It's made with a game engine. The game engine is basically like the core of the game. It's like all the codes there. It's basically like it tells the game how to run. It also kind of acts like a way of the computer to know how to run the game as well. And it's basically where you have the different programming languages. It's an engine is based off of a programming language. There's multiple different kinds. And that's like C# and C++ and things like that. I will say right off the bat, I am not a programmer. And honestly, if they didn't make the thing that I used, I wouldn't have made this game. So what I did was, because a lot of people were like, oh, okay, a lot of people know that, you know, you need to know programming to make a game. Okay, so Ace, how did you make a game if you don't know how to program? Easy. They have this thing called visual scripting. Visual scripting is basically, and you'll see it soon here a little bit, but what it is it's like you're connecting nodes, like, and what looks like boxes basically, and each like node is like a series of code that does something specific. And then you connect those things, and that basically forms a line of code. It's a lot of check this, if this, then do this. A lot of that. It's really simplified to where you don't really need to know coding. Although having that knowledge of blueprint, what's called blueprints and Unreal, but visual scripting, have that knowledge of visual scripting still helps, and actually knowing programming still helps as well. So a basic understanding is still kind of needed, which I honestly just went on YouTube and got some basic rundown of how visual scripting works and how to do different things, how to do different codes, and then that is then applied to different characters and stuff, different parts of the game. So there's like, for instance, like the main character was Tana. Those who don't know, my game's about Tana. She gets into this training program. It's like a virtual training program, and she gets stuck in there, and she has to go and fight her way through and try and survive and get out. That's the story of the game. So like in each level, let's just say, you can break it down. I'm just gonna make it really simple, down to like a level. There's a bunch of code for the main character. There's a ton of code for the main character, because that's because you need to have code for the way she moves. You have code for the movement, the code for when she attacks, all the animations and whatnot. Need to have the code for the buttons to then do those things. So when you click a button to say, hey, go and press the button to swing your sword, there's a code for that, and you have to set all that up. So it is currently starting up right now. I haven't started up in a long time, so it's actually trying to compile the shaders. I can actually, it's up now though, so I can actually pull this up here. So it's gonna look a little weird here for a minute, but let me actually, I need to switch my, or I need to turn on rather, my capture here, my display capture. And then switch my scenes. So the engine that I use is Unreal. Unreal is a really big engine that's publicly used. A lot of games use Unreal. To name a few, the company that made Unreal Engine also makes their own games. So they made Unreal Tournament, Fortnite. What else? There was like one more. I don't know, top of my head. Oh man, it's gone. But yeah, they make, Fortnite is probably the one that everyone knows about. So that's using Unreal Engine. But there's a ton of other games, like huge list of games that use Unreal because it's just how powerful it is, and actually how easy it is too. The other one, the big competitor to Unreal Engine would be the Unity. A lot of indie developers tend to go towards Unity. It's really because it's really good for 2D games, like little pixelated games and whatnot. I'm not a 2D artist in that sense anyway. I'm not a pixel artist, and I do some 2D work, but I don't do that kind of 2D work. So I'm more of a 3D artist when it comes to game development. So I opted just to do a 3D game. That's why I use Unreal. Unreal's the best, in my opinion, the best one to do a 3D game. You can do 3D games and with Unreal as well. But just it always tends to kind of, people just use it to make 2D games. So, and you can use 2D games to and Unreal too. There's methods of doing that as well. But it's primarily people use it for 3D. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna switch the scene over so you guys can see this better. So right here is actually this is actually hold on, it's freaking out of me. Hold on. It's gonna look weird too. Things aren't loaded yet. It's still, as you can see down here, it's compiling. Where my mouse is, it's compiling shaders, meaning that it's loading all the textures. It's actually loading every single texture and I have in my file, so it's gonna take a while. There's stuff that I have in here that I'm not even using, so it's loading all that stuff there as well. But yeah, so this is actually the main menu right here. If those who played the game, you're gonna see like this view here, and this is actually like the basic setup for each map that I use here, and I basically just turn this into the main menu. So you're facing here, and the characters are here, and they're doing their animation stuff. They're not moving right now because nothing's playing right now. In this mode or whatever. So yeah, the textures are starting to pop up here. So in this mode, they are, the only thing that's really like plays allowed to like move or whatever is the is like particles and stuff like that. When it comes to actual animations, and so the reason why the animations aren't working is because there's a code for that. So it's an in-game thing for them to do. So since the game is not playing right now, they're in their T poses. But once the game starts, which I'm not gonna do right now because it's still loading, compiling shaders, that's gonna take a while. I can try. I think I've been able to do it before. Let me see something. I can at least maybe do it in the selective viewport. See what happens. It might. There we go. Okay, yeah. So here it is. Yeah, it's still loading textures. So, but yeah. So I played the game now, and now they're in their proper places and they're moving and stuff like that. So ignore her phasing it out of her head because it's trying to compile that shader right there. So they're doing their thing and everything. So yeah, so that's that. A little bit ahead of myself. So so that's the engine that I use. That's basically what it looks like when I'm making the game itself. Now you don't make everything in Unreal. Not everything is made in Unreal. The things you do make in Unreal are like the actual levels themselves. You're putting everything together pretty much at this point. The only thing you actually make in there will be like particles, and the code, and any kind of lighting as well. But there's some like geometry too that's been that's coming from the engine itself, like the floors, which is actually just a series of different cubes that I use. I decided to use cubes because you're never gonna see. I mean, you never see like the other sides of it anyways, but it's also I just wanted to have that. I wanted to make sure it was solid. And I could have used planes, but I decided not to. I decided to use cubes because I know that cubes are a little more solid and they're not going to go through, collision-wise, they're not going to fall through the map. So there is actually an underside to it too. That's non-textured, but you're never going to see that, so I didn't worry about that. You'd never see it. You're not meant to see it. I'm pretty sure if you like hack your way or into the game and gone around, you'd probably see it. And so, yeah, but everything else though is made by me. The particles, actually, I'm not a parkour artist, so I had to actually get. I did have to use some store assets to get the particles because I'm just not a parkour artist. So I decided to, you know, either use free ones that are available free or purchase them. I purchased them as well. But I did make some changes to them. I didn't just throw them in there and call it good. I did make some changes so it fits in with what I'm trying to do. And there's a lot of stuff that are are in the file actually, because they're packs. So there's a bunch of stuff that are included, but they're just kind of sitting in the file, so aren't used. I just needed the stuff, like for instance, like this fire. Like there's a bunch of different fires that come with it, but I wanted this one specifically. So I think this is actually meant for like a spell casting, but it looks so good as a normal fire. I just used it. But everything else was made by me. The levels are designed by me. They're created by me. I made the characters themselves. Those aren't remade or anything. Those are made from scratch by me. All the environment objects are made by me by scratch. I modeled everything pretty much. This table, the computer. I textured everything too. Everything's my own texture. And I can get into that here in a little bit. Actually, I'll get into it here right now. So so what I use to make that stuff is Blender. So I went into Blender, which is this program right here. Hopefully my computer doesn't crash while I do this, but I will try and pull up Blender. I think the reason why it's going so slow is because I'm live streaming, so my computer's probably like having a blast. I won't pull out Blender. But I use Blender. Blender is a 3D modeling program, and that's where it also does other things. You can texture, you can animate, and do other things. So it's used for 3D modeling and stuff like. I use it just for 3D modeling. And I did originally use it for sculpting as well because there's a sculpting part, and that's what these were made in. But then I decided to. Once I got into doing the characters, I want to say, is when I decided that I wanted to use an actual sculpting program. And so I switched over to. Oh no! I did do a sculpting in Blender. So I used the sculpting in Blender. I did the texturing, actually. That's what it was. I did texturing in Blender too, and it didn't turn out as well as I wanted to. So when I got around to texturing the rest of the stuff, I used Substance Painter. I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, so the first thing I did was I went into Blender and I made all the assets, at least the ones I needed for the alpha. So that would be Tana and Vlaker here, which is that's Vlaker right there, and that's Tana. And then I made this stone texture, which I just applied to everything. I wanted to go for that stone look, like everything was made in stone, because this is supposed to be a super old basement in a temple. So I wanted to look old and stuff. I didn't have the bricks, but after I got the alpha done, I actually went with the bricks. So once I got all the 3D modeling done, I switch over to Substance Painter. And Substance Painter is an Adobe product now. It used to not be, but it was more recently bought by Adobe, which is the company that does like Photoshop and a bunch of several other artists type Premiere and stuff like that. So I went into so I chose to go with Substance Painter because it does something called PBR texturing, which is realistic. It's more realistic textures. What it does is it includes light already into the texture, and so when you're texturing it makes and the other thing too is that you can import your 3D model into Substance Painter, and you can paint on the model, which is a whole lot better than what I used to have to do, where I would get it over into Photoshop and I would try and just paint onto onto the UVs, which UV, for those who don't know, are like it's the information that a model has on the outside. So for instance, looking at Flaker here, I'll go ahead and turn off the light so you can see it's a little better. So I would basically I'd hand painted all this, and there's different layers too. So if, like, for his arm, he has like the symbols and everything. That's one layer. This was another layer. To make it a little easier on myself too, there was textures that already come with Substance Painter that I use as like a basis, and then I would just play around with the settings and stuff until I get it to where I want it to be. That really helps. I did also get some other textures as well for base texturing, and then I just color it the way I needed to color. Like this was already a texture that I found. I really like this pattern. This was this is actually an actual traditional Japanese pattern that I really liked. And so I went with that and then made purple because this is supposed to be a purple sash. And the skin and everything. So that's another thing too, is that with the character, there's different layers to the character as well. I can try and show you. We'll go into the characters here. I'll pull up Baker since we're looking at them. Oh wait, this is the actual character that's used in the game. I need to actually look at the model here. Oops, bad. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay. So the actual character itself, this makes it easier for. Where'd he go? Hold on. I lost him. Well, I keep losing him. Why do I keep losing him? Hold on. Apologies. Okay, let me close out of this and go back into it. That'll reset it. There we go. Okay, so let me zoom in carefully because that's what's going on. Oh, he's really small. That's why. I forgot the size got all screwed up on him. Let me see if I can. I think there's another model that's actually not as small. Here we go. This is a better model. All right. So there's different layers to this as well. So that would be one layer right here. That's his outfit, and actually looks like part of the mouth got included in that, but it's fine. That's his beard. So that's another part. That's what I did when I was modeling the character. I would do it in different parts. So his hood was one part, his beard was another part, his head and his head was one part, his hands were another part. These are isolating more so on textures, but let's see. I just want to get his body. So this is his body. He doesn't have any eyes because, you know, you weren't going to ever see his eyes. You're not supposed to see his eyes, so I didn't model eyes. Actually, I think he does have eyes. Wait, hold on. We'll see. Oh, he does have eyes. That's right. I mean, I did put eyes there just in case you saw something, so there was something there. But I didn't violate texture. I just gave like a white texture and left it alone. You weren't ever going to see his eyes. You weren't supposed to see his eyes. Yeah, so that's basically a breakdown on that. And I basically did the same exact thing for all the rest of the characters. Saber, Tana, Master Nether. The other characters are in the game I won't mention. and also just for the objects as well. So I would basically go through the same process. I'll model it, throw it in the substance painter, texture it. I'd also sculpt it too in Blender if that was something needed. Like for the characters, I sculpted them, like sculpted the small little details and everything, like the wrinkles in their robes and their fingernails and like where their nostril or the nostrils are. You know, just kind of didn't make a hole, but I made like a little like indent in their nose, and then I basically textured over with black. Just put like a black kind of, just shaded with black and called it good. I was like, that's good enough. And same thing with like Saber and Regan over here, same kind of process. And it also, I would then go ahead and animate too. So once I was done with everything, I made sure that everything was the way it looks, the way that it needed to look, you know, with the model and texture and everything. Then I would animate. So I would animate back in Blender as well. So with Blender, I was modeling, texturing, modeling, sculpting, and then animating. And then animations was kind of towards the end a little bit. I would say in the middle end of development. I tried to make it the last thing to do before getting into the game, and then applying it to the characters. Because I wanted, basically what my plan was to, the plan I came up with at the beginning of this, all the way back in 2018, was to get all the simple stuff done, basically just focus on 2 of the characters, which was Blaker and Tana, go through that process of animating and rigging, which is another thing, which basically that's the pre-animation thing, basically animating rather. So get into the game, get some basic stuff done, so I have something working. Also do some, you know, coding, basically get the basic version of the game done, and then once all that is done, do everything else. So when I went back to more modeling, more texturing, more animating, and then once all the assets were done, thrown back into Unreal, and then finish up with any partner programming that I did. What else? I know, do lighting, things like that. And so let me go over, I think what else I can go over. Let's go over the programming now. Something I had mentioned earlier in the stream here was the modeling. The programming. So there's actually a lot to it. There's different things here. So each character has their own scripting. I will show you the most ridiculous one, which was Tana, because Tana's like the main character that you use here. So she has a lot. There's a lot to her. So this is the main graph here. This is the event graph, and that's all the programming that was done for Tana. So I mean, and everything's kind of labeled, so I know where everything is. So it starts here. This is event begin play. Basically, this node. This is the node. This node right here says, okay, go ahead and begin playing the script. Start doing things. Also this too. So this is start doing things, but it's also constantly saying do these things, and it's doing it every second or whatever that the game's playing. So this is constantly running. This is running too, but it's not running. It runs differently from this. This is more like for timers, and this is for just do the thing. You know what I mean? Like, just do it. If that makes sense. So I have all these branching things going all everywhere. Kind of confusing to look at. But you have the basic stuff here. You got the basic movement here, which is like one of the first things I did. This is the pause game. Let's see. Energy regen, camera zoom. There's something I added a little later. Water blade attack, water blast attack, When she goes into her shadow form, this is the shadow form attack right here. This is all for inspecting things, highlighting things, stuff like that. This goes in tandem with where was it? Hold on. I think towards the end I stopped just towards the end I stopped kind of doing this thing. I don't know why. Where was it? This goes in tandem with this as highlighting, and this is in itself is more scripting here. So there's stuff like that that's going on as well in the characters. Is like these are broken down. These are not broken down. These are collapsed nodes, where it's collapsed nodes are just a bunch of code inside of a code. So it actually makes it easier when it comes to this, especially since like this is so in the event graph you actually are limited on. There actually is a limit to how much script you can have. I mean, there's a ton of room here, obviously, but it's a lot easier if you can collapse any nodes. It makes it a lot easier to look at. There's some of the things I probably could have collapsed more, but I decided to just leave it out. I just wanted to make it easier for myself to see everything because this was the main character. So I was doing it more so for the other characters, not so much for her. So let's see. Yeah, that's that. But that's actually just, this is all stuff that applies to like the mesh, which is the mesh, by the way. All this stuff right here has to be kind of attached to her, and then there's code within, you know, her that says to have things appear and disappear. Like when you do the water blast attack, this turns on, and then when it's done, it turns off. You know, when you go into shadow form, this turns on, and then this turns on. Then whatever you do the water blade attack, this water thing turns on. But it's all on right now. But when the game starts, it all is told to turn all that off pretty much, and then turn it on accordingly. That's why I have all the stuff there, but you don't actually see that. Yeah, so this is all the stuff that applies to her, like doing all kind of this animation stuff to her, as well as there's some taking damage as well. Actually no, I'm sorry, I was thinking of the anime AI works a little differently. There is another file or whatever that is for animation, and we'll show that right now, and that has its own scripting thing. It's an animation folder. So this is the animation blueprint. It's probably actually going to use a future Tana skin. I don't know why it does that, but it's fine. It's still the same character, it's just a different skin, it's a different model. Yeah, so this is it's a really simplified, it's real simple here. There's not too much going on here. There's not a whole lot that needs to go on to the animation blueprint. This is just for telling it to update the animation when I'm doing certain things. So if I'm doing the water blade, then it so what this is saying basically is cast to Tana, which is supposed to be the character, and then it's checking to see if it's using the water blade attack. If it is, then it's going to set this variable. This is a variable right here, and then the variable is going to be looked at somewhere else. So this is the states right here, and if it is using this water blade, this is so it's basically looking at this file back here. It's looking for this, and it's looking to see if this variable over here is turned on. And if that variable is turned on, it's going to turn this variable on over here, and then once that is on, then it's going to go into one of these states. Which so this is the idle, the stunned, a blocking, you know, walking, running, whatever. So right now it's in like an idle state, which is why it's doing this right here. And then these things right here, these things in the middle, are looking for the is true as well. So yeah, it gets a little complicated. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, but it's basically, is this turned on? Okay, go over here and turn this on. And then is this turned on? Okay, then we will turn this on. Okay, is it turned on still? Okay, no, we'll go back to this one. That's basically what it's doing. Is it okay? She's in idle right now. Oh, she she's using the water blast. Okay, we will go over to this state right here, this water blade or whatever, over the water blast section right here. So, oh, you're using water blast? Okay, go over the water blast, and then it's gonna play this animation right here, which is basically what it's doing. So, and then once that's done, it's gonna look to see if it's back in the, is it still in this state? No? Okay, go back to idle or whatever, or go back to this or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's what this is doing. And then all the other characters have that as well. That's kind of like it's one of the requirements to get in a character to work right, to animate right when it's doing certain things. So and I mean just like the character that you see, Tana, Saber. I'm also talking about the Shadow Dwellers that you fight as well. They work the same. Now the non-playable characters, the AI and stuff like that, they work a little differently. So we'll go take a look at the Shadow Dweller. So because of the fact that they have to be controlled by the AI, they have to be set up a little differently. Everything that goes in the Tana, like, because you're controlling it, so everything goes inside the Tana character, or character actor, what it's called. Because that's just how that's set up. But because these are controlled by an AI, the computer, pretty much the engine, has to be set up a little differently. So what goes into the Shadow Dweller and all the rest of the Shadow Dwellers is something like this. So the actual actor itself has all the information regarding damage that it takes, as well as what animation to play, and the health bar. I think and then the actual what to spawn to as well, if it's spawned with the portal. I think I'd put this in here, but I don't think it actually does anything. It doesn't work the way I thought it would, but it's fine. I'm gonna leave it though. Oh no, it does work the way. So this is actually for the high score when you're playing survival mode. But actually for when it's attacking though, when it's attacking you and moving around and stuff, that's where the AI comes in, and so it has to have it has to be set up in a certain way. So that would be in a different file, which is the AI controller. This is what the AI controller looks like. Not super complicated, because there's two things actually that's going into there's two things that's going into moving the character around. There's the AI controller, but there's also the behavior tree. So so basically the AI controller, all it's really doing is running the AI tree and then looking to see like what state it's in, and then using animation, doing an attack animation depending on what the state is, if it's attacking or if it's waiting or whatever have you. And then it's what's gonna do too is, because I was having some issues with this, but when the character dies, it's always looking to see if the health is at 0. If it is, once it does get to 0, it will then stop. It stops the AI. So the problem I was having is that like the AI would try to control the character when it was dead, and then it would cause a bunch of errors. So I had to make it to where when it died, it stopped doing that. So that took a long time to get. I was up. I had a few late nights, and then when I think that I had it, I think that everything was good, it like broke again. So so I finally came up with this right here was what fixed it, and I haven't had any issues since, so which is good. Okay, I think what else. There's some other things too, I guess I can go over. So there's the characters, we went over the characters, went over what the AI looks like, or what the blueprints look like, and how they work, essentially. Let me go to a level real quick. And hopefully it doesn't hate me. Don't save. I think my computer's about to hate me. It's gonna go to level 1. Actually, this is going a lot quicker than I thought it was gonna be. Alright, well, that's loading. There's one more thing I wanted to show. I guess some of this. I can show you some, like, I guess, some stuff. All the outside, I guess, stuff, like, there it goes. It's loading now. Oh, that's outside level. Okay. Back to lit. Let that load up the lights and everything. So when it came time to, or rather at the start of the project, I was doing all the, like, the pre-development stuff. That was actually really simple. So normally what you would do is you would create a game document. You would come up with some concept art. You get some ideas down, stuff like that. I didn't really do a lot of that. I did do the game document. But I'll show you what the game document looks like, if I can find it. Looking at my folder real quick for it. Where is it? I can't find it. Here it is. I found it. Open up Word real quick here. So this is basically, I wrote all this. It didn't take me very long to write all this. You know, me being an author, I can type fast. So, so it starts off with like the basic stuff, like not the basic, but like, it starts off with like people involved, like come up with who's gonna be project lead, who's gonna be artist, who's gonna be this or that. This is basically like the Bible, like your Bible. This is like when you need to refer back, if you need to figure out what you should be doing next, you refer back to this pretty much. That, and also like also what helps is like using some sort of method of like a task thing, like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, which is what I did too. I did that as a Word doc. There's actually something that I found out towards the end of development, that there's actually like a program that actually helps you out with that was staying on task, whatever, I forgot what it was called, but I see other developers use it all the time. I'm like, damn, I shouldn't use that, but I already had set up everything in a Word doc, so I didn't want to bother with it. So I think the next project though, I'll definitely be doing that. So yeah, so basically you come up with like with the with like music, anything else you want to do. Like for me, I mentioned some people here. Let's see, what the basic story is going to be, who the main characters are going to be, antagonists, who the shadow dwellers are, what the world's going to look like, what the field, what the mechanics are going to be, any extra content, which I don't know if I'll begin to this now at this point. I basically came up with the idea of only doing this if it did really well, which unfortunately it's not right now. Maybe in the future if things turn around, but as of right now, I don't have any plans of DLC right now, which is fine. The DLC is extra thing. And then this is my release plan. This actually ended up not being exactly how I thought it was going to be. So I thought I was going to get the alpha demo by the end of February, beginning of March 2021, which actually I think I did meet that. I think I actually changed it, I think, but I did beat that. And then I was gonna have the beta release by the end of 2021. That didn't happen. Beta wasn't until I think the quarter. That was the end of quarter 2 rather of 2000. So that was like sometime between like I think April and like June. So like around this time of last year, I was gonna get the beta done. That didn't happen. Beta didn't come out until like January of this year. Included a ton of skin for backer, which that did not happen either. I was gonna do, so I did try to do a Kickstarter. I barely made any money, unfortunately. So the future Tana skin was not included until like the full game was released. But you can't get it. It's done. You already saw it yourself as well there when I was showing off the character. I think the pre-gold release. I don't remember why I said pre-gold. That actually technically just should have been platinum release, which I don't know why it's a release because you won't release the platinum. And then the full release was by the end of Q3. End of Q3, beginning of Q4 2021. Again, did not meet that. Did not meet that at all. Trailer done for full game and then DLC porting, and if possible by mid 2020. So by this time I would do like start getting DLC out and everything and doing porting, which that also is not happening. I tried to reach out to Nintendo about getting the masters on the Switch, start porting it over, and they said no, so that's whatever. And then some notes myself, Nintendo sequels, whatever. I don't know. That's the I'm still debating on what my next game project is going to be. I know that I need to finish my book, so it's going to be a while before I get another game project out. I think I might do like a small game project that's going to be in the Masters universe, but I think it'll be a little easier. This ended up being a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? Ambitious. A lot more ambitious than I thought it was going to be. And I think when I first started the project, I didn't even have like a story mode or anything. I added it a little later. I was just going to be like a small little mini game. Like survival mode was literally the game I was going to make. And call it that. So it was literally just going to be Tana and she's going to survive. There wasn't going to be a story. There was going to be a setting. That was it. But when I came up with the idea for the setting, it made me want to come up with a story, which then made me want to have a story mode. So it got just like led into what it is now. I was like, I think I can still do it, and I'm glad I still did it. I don't regret adding to it, making it bigger. But it was still a lot. Honestly, if it was any bigger, I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. I would have needed some help. I still got some help too, which was nice. So I got some, if you can tell from the trailer and any gameplay you've seen or anything like that, you know that there's some voice acting done. I was super thankful to have friends and family that was willing to help me for free. Granted, we weren't experts or anything, and I'm not going to complain because it was free. Like, it can't be free. Does it lower the quality of the game a little bit? Unfortunately, I did some too, so we're not professional voice actors, so I wasn't looking for it needs to be perfect. I wasn't looking for that. I was just looking for something, you know what I mean? It's something I have to have some voice acting. And I was hoping that if I got the money, if I actually did get the back end, the funding from Kickstarter, that I would be able to use that money to hire an actual professional voice actors to do voice acting, and then have our voice acting be like unlockable or something like that. But yeah, I didn't get the funding, so we didn't go that route, unfortunately. So yeah, so basically I came up with this and I started working on everything, working on the prototype. So when it comes to prototyping, which is like the first stage of development, this was before I did anything else with the modeling, the texture, anything. So I did already have a model of Tana done at that time. It was a really bad model. I didn't like it. I liked it when I first got it done, but then when I was using it in the game by that time in my life, I was like, oh, this is terrible. But I just kind of stuck with it anyways because it didn't really bother me. I just wanted something to run around in. So for the prototype, I used the old Tana model, which I think is still in here. I think it's still in here. Let me go back to, yeah, so there's a prototype folder, which I don't know if I can use a lot of this stuff, but yeah, this model's terrible. I hate looking at this model, it's so bad. Where is, can't find the actual model for the Tana model. What is going on? Oh, it's in here. It's not. I'll just try and I'll pull it up from the character. Wow, look how simple it is compared to, wow, I'm looking back now. Look how simple it is compared to this. This is what it turned into. It's so big I can't even zoom out all the way. I need to this is as far as I can zoom out, and then I had to move it around. Yeah, look how simple it was back then. Super simple. And then this is the character. Let me see if I can pause animation here. So bad looking. Her head's, it looks like her eyes are popping out of her head. This was actually, I made this because like I wanted to get back into, I wanted to try again with character modeling, because when I was in school, I didn't really give character model much of a chance. And when I did do one, it didn't turn out very well. Where is the animation? People pause animation. There we go. And yeah, her just the texture's bad. What else? This is like all shiny. Yeah, her eyes are like really big and looks like it's popping in her head. And then look at it now. You know, her eyes actually look normal. The hair actually looks normal. Still trying to process that, but by the time I'm done with this, it's gonna finish compiling. Watch. Let's see. Yeah, that's just that. So and then for the shadow dwellers, I just used the mannequin that comes with Unreal, and I just colored it black. So I did 3 different colors because I know there was 3 different enemy types. So black was the shadow dwellers. I did blue for the shadow beings, and then the shadow demons were red, and they're actually bigger too. They get bigger too. So it's just so I knew, I could tell what was what, so I wasn't gonna get confused. So, and they were just running around. They were chasing me around and stuff. It's kind of funny. I do have some footage of that. I've recorded myself doing the playing the prototype. It's kind of funny just seeing these mannequins running after Hana and stuff. So, but it was also in this like untextured level. It's one of the basic levels that they kind of give you for a top-down game. I just used that. So, it's actually very similar to this setup actually. So it was perfect. It worked out perfectly. The fact that they had a map that was just like the one I was really looking to make. So there was something else. So yes, once the prototyping was done, then I started working on the alpha. I think at that point is when I remade Tana, and I made Blaker. Yeah, I remade Tana, remade Blaker. Made some of the like the pillars and the textures, so like some basic stuff real quick, and then I made a few levels. I made the first like 4 levels or 5 levels I think in the game. I may have moved one of them around to the, and then I don't remember exactly, but and then after that was once I got that, I sent it off for testing, let my friends test it. Because I trusted them, and I also had them sign a document anyways, just in case. But I trusted them to kind of keep it quiet. So, and they told me like what should be fixed, what shouldn't. And I made sure that I was having people who actually knew how to play games. Well, okay, that's a bad way of saying it. I knew people who would actually tell me what could be fixed and what could not be fixed. And I actually did reach out to a few different people who I knew, like I got one person I reached out to, I knew just play games, but I also reached out to someone who actually I knew could be critical about it and tell me like, okay, this could be fixed, fix that, fix this. And then once all that feedback, then I started working on the beta. And then I had that beta out, the beta tested out, and then I'd use that feedback to continue working on it. while I was working, and while that was going on, I was, you know, working on some more modeling, more texture, more animation, more levels and stuff like that. Basically working on the final product, doing some final beta tests and whatnot. And then the final game came out and we're gold and everything. So that's a basic process right there. Start to finish, and that was 4 years of work. So on top of that, I was also working on a book, and I started a comic book. I don't know why I started that. It was really dumb of me. And my drawing skills have improved a little bit since then, so I actually would like to just go back and just redraw it, probably, if anything. Maybe just start over at some point. I think maybe I want to get a little better, improve my skills a little bit more. But yeah, that was it. I think if I wasn't working on finishing the second book and working on the third book, and I didn't start the comic book, I probably would have been a little sooner. Probably like maybe the end of 2021 rather than this is just like a few months ago. Yeah, so that's basically everything. That's everything I can think of about breaking it down, dude. Anyone in chat have any questions at all? Like, is there anything you want me to show you? I know it looks dark right now. It's because it's still not done. I know I just kind of rambled on and on and on, and I don't know if anyone has any questions or want me to show you something, or because if not, I think what I might do is switch over to Apex. I'm done, and I've only been streaming for about an hour. I want a break, switch over to Apex. I will also say that I'm still working on the Kingdom Hearts thing. That's gonna be the next like special event, special stream is the Kingdom Hearts lore and storyline. We explain that. That's gonna be a long stream. That's gonna take a while to go over. It's taking me a while to even get done. I'm just doing it when I get around to it, which I haven't touched in a couple of days. So I right now I will say that I'm at Kingdom Hearts 1 in the timeline. So I still have like Kingdom Hearts 2, I have Kingdom Top Distance, Kingdom Hearts 3, a few other things to go over, and just some touching up video and stuff. So I'm gonna try and aim for that to be next week, but it might not be till the week after that, but we'll see what happens. I will try to focus more on it to get it done, because I would like to try and get it done next week. But yeah, just stay tuned in the Discord. If you're on the Discord, by the way, let me get the command for that up. Where's my commands? I keep forgetting where my commands are. Here we go. Discord. If you're on the Discord, go ahead and join it up there. That's where you get notifications and everything, and there's also some memes and stuff we post in there and everything. So feel free to join up. It's free, obviously. Doesn't seem like we have any questions or anything. So I mean, if a question comes up, I'll try and answer it without pulling it up. But